Dear ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in life when victory cannot be measured by trophies, titles, or applause. True victory is not always about what we win on the outside, it's about who we become on the inside. You can have success on paper and still feel defeated in your soul, but when your spirit is victorious, nothing around you can bring you down. Circumstances may shake you, storms may rage against you, and people may doubt you, but the spirit within you can still rise above. To be victorious in spirit means to carry an inner fire that no loss can extinguish, a faith that no fear can cripple, and a strength that no struggle can break. It means understanding that real victory starts from the inside out. So today, let's lean into a truth that can transform us. Victory is not a destination, it's a condition of the heart. 10 key points of the speech victory begins with mindset, not circumstances. Inner battles are more important than outward battles. Faith fuels a victorious spirit. Strength in spirit doesn't mean absence of weakness. True victory is seen in resilience, not perfection. Peace within is greater than applause outside. Every setback can strengthen your spirit. The spirit of victory inspires others more than success does. Your spirit can win even when your situation looks like loss. Victory in spirit leaves a legacy that outlives you. Certainly here's a *** large expansion of key point 1 ***. Victory begins with mindset, not circumstances * in Stephen Furtick's style preaching tone, but without mentioning his name. So often, we convince ourselves that victory will come when things finally line up in our favor, when we get the right opportunity, when the right door opens, when people finally recognize our worth, when the struggle eases up. But let me tell you something, if victory depended on circumstances, none of us would ever truly win. Because circumstances change. One moment the sun is shining, and the next moment the storm clouds roll in. One day you feel strong, and the next day you feel like you can barely stand. If your sense of victory is tied to what's happening around you, you will live your whole life on an emotional roller coaster, up when things are good, down when things are bad. But real victory doesn't start with what's around you, it starts with what's inside you. It starts with the way you think, the way you believe, the way you see yourself when nobody else is clapping for you. Victory begins in the mind long before it ever shows up in reality. You can be surrounded by battles, but if your mind is anchored in strength, you are already winning. You can be facing opposition, but if your perspective is fixed on purpose, you are already overcoming. Think about it, history has shown us countless people who had every reason to quit, every reason to back down, every reason to be defeated, but they chose to think differently. They chose to rise above the limitations, not because the battle was easy, but because their mindset was stronger than the fight. That's why someone can have very little and still walk with confidence, while another person can have everything and still feel empty. Because victory is not about possession, it's about perception. If you start believing that victory is already within you, you begin to live differently. You wake up with determination even when you're tired. You keep walking even when the ground feels heavy. You speak words of hope when everything around you screams despair, because you understand that the battle might rage outside, but the war is won inside. And once your mind is convinced that you are victorious, your life will eventually follow. Of course, here's the ** expanded version of key point 2 ** Inner battles are more important than outward battles *, written in a large, flowing style without subtitle or conclusion, in that passionate Stephen Furtick-like tone. The truth is, most of the battles we think are against other people. Circumstances or challenges are really happening inside of us. It's not always the boss, the family situation, or the lack of resources that keeps us down. It's the fear, the doubt, and the insecurities that whisper inside our minds. You see, the outer fight is only as strong as the inner one. The greatest victories in life are not when you defeat an opponent, but when you overcome yourself, when you silence the voice that says, "You're not enough," when you push past the fear that tells you, "Stay where you are." When you refuse to bow to the anxiety that says, it's never going to work out, because here's the truth, if you don't win the battle within, no matter how much you gain on the outside, you'll still feel defeated. You can climb the ladder of success, but if inside your heart you're still chained by comparison or fear of failure, that ladder will feel like a prison instead of a platform. You can gain applause from 1,000 people, but if you haven't settled the doubts in your soul, you'll still go home feeling empty. The inside always outweighs the outside. That's why some people who have lost everything still walk with peace, still smile with joy, still speak with courage, because they fought the harder battle inside and won. And on the other hand, there are those who have all the things the world calls success, but are tormented daily because they never learned how to fight their inner war. When you focus on winning inside, the outside will follow. If you train your heart to believe, if you discipline your mind to hope, if you strengthen your spirit with truth, then no storm, no setback, no opposition can rob you of victory, because once you conquer your inner battles, the outer ones begin to lose their grip. You stop reacting in fear and start responding in faith. You stop living in panic and start walking in peace. The world may see the smile, the strength, the resilience, but it's only because you first chose to fight and win the battle nobody else could see. Absolutely. Here's the *** expanded version of key point 3 ***. True victory is not in material success, but in spiritual strength * in a long, powerful flow without subtitle or conclusion, written in that same stirring style. We live in a world that constantly measures victory by numbers, by titles, by possessions, by the size of our homes, the cars we drive, or the promotions we receive. And while there's nothing wrong with achieving those things, the danger is when we begin to equate them with true victory. Because the truth is, you can win all the trophies, collect all the medals, and build a life that looks impressive from the outside, yet still feel broken, empty, and defeated on the inside. That's because real victory has nothing to do with material success and everything to do with the strength of your spirit. Think about it. What good is it to gain the world but lose yourself in the process? What good is it to climb to the top of the mountain if your soul is weary, bitter, or chained in fear? You see, true victory is not about standing taller than others. It's about standing stronger within yourself. It's about being able to look in the mirror and know that even if everything around you falls apart, your faith, your hope, and your courage are still intact. That is a victory the world cannot take away. Some of the greatest champions in life are not the ones you see on magazine covers or stages. They are the mothers raising their children with love, even when life has been cruel. They are the people who choose forgiveness over bitterness, even when revenge would have been easier. They are the ones who choose faith when everything around them screams fear. Their bank accounts may not be full, but their hearts are overflowing with peace and purpose, and that's a kind of wealth that no economy can touch. Victory that comes from material things will always be temporary. It can fade, it can be stolen, it can disappear in a single moment, but the victory of a strong spirit endures. When you build your foundation on inner strength, when your heart is anchored in unshakable truth, you can lose the job and still not lose your joy. You can be overlooked by people and still know you are seen by something greater. You can face storms and still carry peace in the middle of them. So, when life pushes you to chase after success, remember this. The greatest victory is not when others applaud you, but when your spirit stands unbroken. The greatest triumph is not the house you own or the career you build, but the strength you carry within, the courage that refuses to quit, and the peace that flows even in the midst of chaos. That is victory, and that is forever. Of course, here's the *** expanded version of key point 4 ***. Victory in spirit means learning to endure trials without losing hope * in a deep, powerful, and extended flow without subtitle or conclusion. Dear friends, every one of us knows that life is not always smooth. There are valleys, storms, nights that feel darker than the day before, and moments where it seems like the weight of the world is pressing down on your chest. Trials come in many forms. Some come in the form of loss, others in betrayal, others in disappointments, and sometimes it's the silent battles of the mind that nobody else can see. But here's what I want you to grasp. Victory in spirit is not the absence of trials, but the endurance you develop through them. So many people believe victory means having no struggles, but that is not the truth. Real victory shows up when you can walk through the fire and not be consumed by it, when you can face rejection and not let it strip your worth, when you can look at your scars and instead of shame, see proof that you survived. Victory is not that the storm never came, it's that you endured it without losing your hope. Hope is the anchor of the soul. Without it, every trial feels like the end, but with it, even the fiercest storm cannot drown you. When you have hope, you start to see trials differently. Instead of seeing them as punishments, you begin to see them as preparation. Instead of seeing obstacles, you see opportunities to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. The storm that once made you feel like quitting begins to make you into a warrior of endurance, a fighter who refuses to bow down to fear. Some of the strongest people you'll ever meet are not those who avoided pain, but those who embraced it, endured it, and came out with a deeper faith and stronger spirit. They didn't let their trials define them. They let their trials refine them. They didn't let the darkness consume their light. They carried their light into the darkness. When you learn to endure trials with hope, you become untouchable in a way. Life can hit you, but it cannot break you. Disappointments can slow you down, but they cannot defeat you. You may bend under the weight, but you won't collapse, because your spirit has been trained in endurance. And endurance is what turns ordinary people into extraordinary warriors. The truth is, there will always be seasons of testing, but the secret is this: as long as you hold on to hope, no trial will ever be wasted. Every tear will water the seeds of strength in you. Every setback will position you for a greater comeback. Every storm will teach you how to dance in the rain instead of waiting for the sun. That is what it means to have victory in spirit, to endure without losing hope, to walk through trials and come out not bitter, but better, not broken, but built stronger. Absolutely. Here's the *** expanded version of key point. 5 *** victory in spirit means celebrating progress, not just perfection **, written in a powerful, extended flow without subtitle or conclusion. Dear ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest mistakes we make on our journey of faith, growth, and purpose is waiting until everything looks perfect before we give ourselves permission to celebrate. We say things like, once I reach that goal, then I'll rejoice. Once I finally arrive, then I'll feel proud. Once everything is lined up just right, then I'll know I've succeeded. But life is not built on perfection, it is built on progress. Victory in your spirit comes when you stop measuring your worth by flawless outcomes and start rejoicing in the steps you've taken, no matter how small they may seem. Think about it. Perfection is an illusion. No one truly reaches it, and those who appear to have it are often fighting hidden battles that no one sees. If you keep chasing the idea of perfection, you'll never feel victorious, because there will always be one more thing to fix, one more hurdle to clear, one more gap between where you are and where you think you should be. But progress, that's something real. Progress is measurable, it's tangible, it's proof that you are moving forward even when you're not yet where you want to be. Maybe you're not at the mountaintop yet, but you've climbed higher than you were yesterday. That's progress. Maybe you still struggle with fear, but now you're speaking up more boldly than you did before. That's progress. Maybe you haven't broken every chain yet, but the fact that you're fighting and refusing to give up, that's progress. And that progress is worth celebrating. When you begin to honor your progress, you begin to see yourself through a lens of grace instead of criticism. You stop punishing yourself for what you haven't achieved and start encouraging yourself for what you've already accomplished. And that encouragement fuels more progress. It gives you momentum. It tells your spirit, you are not stuck. You are moving. You are not defeated. You are growing. You are not behind. You are on your way. Too often, people quit not because they aren't capable, but because they failed to celebrate the small victories along the way. They overlooked the little steps that were actually signs of transformation. But the truth is, a tree doesn't grow tall overnight. It begins with tiny roots breaking through the soil. A river doesn't carve valleys in a single moment. It flows steadily, little by little, over time. In the same way, your progress may seem small, but if you keep celebrating it, it will echo louder than perfection ever could. When you celebrate progress, your spirit begins to shine with gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you've gained. It takes your eyes off the distance yet to be traveled and lets you rejoice in how far you've already come. And when gratitude fills your heart, your spirit becomes victorious because you are no longer chained to what you think you should be. You are free to rejoice in who you are becoming. So let me remind you, every step forward matters. Every effort counts. Every attempt to do better, to be stronger, to love deeper. It is all part of your victory. Do not wait for perfection to celebrate. Celebrate the progress, because in the eyes of eternity, the echo of your effort is not found in flawless results, but in the faithful steps you take each day.